Good morning. How are you doing this morning? Woo! Happy Easter! Yeah! Woohoo! They're lively. This is the way I like to start the morning. All right. Yes. Hey. So excited to see all of you guys. We've been praying for all of you. Lots of people have been praying for you, not just me, but we are excited you are here today. We're excited you came out on Easter Sunday. Amazing Sunday. It's awesome to have you here at Hilltop. We're so excited. My name is David, by the way, and more importantly, we're all about Jesus. Period. So we're excited to have you guys here. And did everybody get their Easter basket this morning? Yeah, you get your. Yeah? No, you're not sure. There's grumblings over that. I don't know what's happening. No, not yet. Got to wait till after church. So Walgreens is still open, so you have time. I don't know, but. Hey, we're excited you guys here. Thank you for attending out there in broadcast world. We're glad you guys are joining us this morning. Happy Easter, you guys as well in pajama world. Don't be eating your chocolate bunnies during church. We don't want to get you a sugar high or anything. But and Jerry, want to give a shout out to Jerry. We know you're having surgery today. We're praying for you. So we love you. We miss you guys today. But welcome. Thank you for attending on the patio out there. Oh, there you are. Yeah. Hey, good morning. Cool out there. They didn't want to come in and jam in and sit next to some strange person. I don't know, but that's okay. You're on the patio. We still love you. But thank you for attending and driving. If you're out there listening, beep beep to you. And of course, thank you for attending in here. Good morning. Woo! Yes. Very cool. Good to hear a good audience. Hey, do you guys see Grace today? Oh, yeah, that's right. We're starting a new series called I See Grace. We'll be talking about this the next couple weeks. So we encourage you to come back. And, we didn't want you to miss grace. So we wanted you to see God's grace. So we're excited you're here. And God's grace is all about Jesus, period. So if you're wondering what kind of church we are, we're a church that loves Jesus. We believe in Jesus. We believe he died on the cross. We believe he rose again. We believe he's alive right now. We believe that you can give him your life. There's nothing hindering you except you from coming to a relationship with Jesus Christ. And we want you to experience Jesus. So you'll hear that often. That's why we're loud and proud when we say it's all about Jesus, period, right? We like to say that. That's why we say that a lot. So you'll hear that often. So after a while, you're like, everybody's screaming out in this church. What's going on? I don't know. Yeah. We're a screaming church, I guess. I don't know. We just scream, period. Yes. But we're excited, you guys. We're here. We're excited for Easter. So years ago, Kim drugged me out and my son. We only had one child at that time. We've multiplied more since then. Kim doesn't know how to keep her hands off me. But anyways, so... I can't blame her, but, hey. So, but at that time, we just had one. And we had one in the oven, so one on the way. So, one there, one on the way. And Kim, she drug us out. She wanted to go do this Easter egg hunt at a church. Boom, 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 church Easter egg hunt. You never know what you're going to get at a church Easter egg hunt. So she's like, come on, we got to go. And I'm like, my son is like barely a year old. What are we going to do an Easter egg hunt for? He's not going to be hunting for eggs. I'm going to be hunting for eggs. All these little kids running around, what's going on? Typical crabby dad. I'd rather sit home and watch football or something. Or, she said, there's not football on. It's Easter season. Oh, all right. Well, I'm sure there's some sport on. So, she drags us out. We go to church. I'm like, all right, this church, let's go for the Easter egg hunt. I'm carrying my son, and, they're in categories. They put all the kids in groups. So here I am standing there with my son. I'm holding him. He's a little guy, just a little over 1 year old. He doesn't know what's going on yet. He's like, what's happening? I'm thinking, what's happening? All the kids, they're all lined up, and then they say go or whatever, and it's like cockroaches when the lights come on, just swarming all these eggs all over. I'm like, I can barely move, and it turns in. It says an Easter egg hunt. It's really like an Easter egg horde. Whoever can get these kids running around just grabbing eggs like crazy, and my son's got one in one hand and one in the other hand. That's all he can hold. I grab another one and try to okay, we get 3 eggs. When it's all done, and it took like 30 seconds, whoa, like locusts swarming on and all the eggs are gone. We have 3. I'm like to my wife, we got 3 eggs. Wow, that was really worth it, right? And we're opening the eggs, and it's got this candy, and 2 of the eggs had candy in it. The 3rd egg we crack open, it's empty. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. What kind of church is this? They're chintzy, I say, we just fill every other egg, and then or it was handed out by the junior high kids who were like, oh, no one will notice, eating it. Yeah, it's, junior high kids. It's probably some adult. My sugar's over. I need some candy. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like going to my wife now. Are you happy? And she's like, we had to get the picture. I go, what picture? The Easter picture. We're gonna do this every year the rest of our lives. You're kidding me, right? It's like sets in. You didn't understand this stuff when you got married. What was going to have to happen the rest of your life. And so I'm like, stinking thing. And then she's like, well, now we got to go inside. He said, inside for what? She goes, it's a church. We got to go inside. We're going to talk about Jesus. Oh, come on. Right? By the way, I was a pastor this time. So anyway, I got to go and talk about Jesus. What? Come on. Some of you may feel that way today. What's going to happen? They're going to talk about Jesus. I don't know what's going to happen in this church. So we go inside, and I'm just like, I'm complaining the whole time. My wife's, it's fun. Smile. Yeah, it's like, oh boy. So we go in there, and I'm bitter over the empty egg. We only got 3. I'm just a whiner complaining. Not that any of your husbands ever do this, but, so just letting this go. And finally, we're in here, this big group of people, massive people standing around. And finally, this guy comes up to the stage and is like, oh, I was just wondering, we noticed some of you had empty eggs. If you had an empty egg, raise your hand. And I'm like, oh, yeah, baby, right here, cheapskate. Come on, holding the egg up, finally, sweet justice. And the guy says, he goes, oh, well, everybody who got an empty egg, you actually won a special prize. And I'm like, and you know how your wife's standing next to you, and you feel that radiant heat coming, and you're like, don't look at her. Don't look, but you can't resist. So you're like, don't look. And you see that look of, I told you, loser, right? I told you. And you're like, okay. And my son ends up winning those Schwinn metal tricycle, those nice deals. Yeah, it was pretty awesome, My wife's like, that's a great present. I'm like, yeah, all right, we're great. Praise Jesus. And she's like, and I'm like, oh, hallelujah. Right? That gift went through, that tricycle went through all 4 of our children. We handed it down. I mean, it was metal. It lasts forever, right? The kids can take a beating on that thing, and it keeps going. And we handed it off to another family, let them be blessed with us. So our whole family was blessed by this gift. Our friends were blessed by this gift. They handed off to somebody else's children. I mean, it's Schwinn. It just keeps going. Schwinn, you make good stuff. I don't know. So, it's just amazing blessing all through an empty egg. An empty egg, right? That was not what I was expecting. Not what I was expecting at all. Emptiness, usually I think empty is empty, right? But sometimes emptiness brings us grace more than we ever realized. Emptiness is not always a bad thing. Emptiness is not always a bad thing. If you want to take notes, it's in your connection guide. We got the fill in the blank, and I don't even know what the fill in the blank is. Julie does a great job with that. So emptiness is not always a bad thing. If you have your Bibles, open up with me to John. If you don't have a Bible, there's Bibles down in the chairs there. Might not be right in front of you, but they're around there. And if you need a Bible, you can take that Bible home with you. Have a gift. No one's going to chase you after church and say, you're stealing one of the white Bibles. Code 3, tackle them. No, we're happy to give you that Bible. There's a little message from the women's ministry in there too, unique for you. So if you want it, take that home. We want you, but if you take it, you got to read it, okay? John chapter 20, verse 1. It'll be on the screen for everybody else who's lazy. So John chapter 20, verse 1. It says, early on Sunday morning. Now, this is Jesus was crucified. They've gone through Saturday. It's now early on Sunday morning. It says, early on Sunday morning, while it was still dark, so it's really early. Most of us are still sleeping. Mary Magdalene came to the tomb. Now, she's coming to the tomb with expectations. She's expecting to see a body. She's expecting to see Jesus' body, right? That's what she's expecting. She's coming early in the morning. They didn't have time to finish the preparation of the body like they would in that day. So she's coming, due diligence. She got up early. She's there. She's ready. She's expecting to see Jesus' body. That's her expectation. She's ready for it. Everybody expects it. But she quickly learns that what she expected isn't there. Jesus' body isn't there. The stone had been rolled away that sealed his body in. He'd been laying there, Friday, Saturday, it's now Sunday. The stone's rolled away. There's no body. And Mary quickly jumps to a conclusion. Someone stole this body, right? What the heck's going on? It's kind of like an empty Easter egg. I got ripped off here. It's not what I expected. It's not what she expected. She expected to see Jesus' body. It's not there. And so she just jumps right to it. Obviously, she was a typical woman, very calm, did not overreact at all. Someone stole this body! Right? Panic City. And she begins assuming the Romans maybe the Jewish leaders, maybe robbers came and stole the body. I don't know why robbers would steal a body, but okay, there are sickos out there, I guess, right? John chapter 20, verse 2. So what did she do? She ran and found Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one whom Jesus loved. That's John. I like the way he phrases that. Maybe he's got an ego. The one who Jesus loved. I don't think that's what he meant, but, it's John. So Mary said to them, They, pay attention to that word. They have taken the Lord's body out of the tomb, and we don't know where they have put him. Do you hear an accusation in that statement? Do you hear an assumption in that statement? Mary definitely had an idea of what happened here. The body's not there. Obviously, they. Who's they? She doesn't define the they. Who is the they? But she's making an accusation. Is they the Jewish leaders? Is they the Romans? Is they some notorious body-snatching criminal? I don't know who they are, right? But she believes foul play. They. Peter and John, they respond, what? They stole his body, so they start running. Apparently, John was in a little better shape than Peter because he gets there first. So, John chapter 20, verse 4, it says, they, John and Peter, were both running, but the other disciple outran Peter. John outran Peter and reached the tomb first. Verse 5, John stooped and looked in. So he doesn't go in the tomb. He's outside and he stoops and he kind of looks into the tomb. And he saw the linen wrappings lying there, but he didn't go in. So John is more tentative, what's going on? Let me investigate. John's like, don't touch the crime scene. We've all watched the crime shows, right? Don't touch the crime scene, fingerprints, something. We don't know what's going on. Verse 6, then Simon Peter arrives, and he just went inside. He's probably like, John beat me, but I'm going in, right? And he just storms in. I love this about Peter because this is kind of how I am. Just storm in, do your thing, ask questions later, right? Not always the brightest thing, but that's what he does. Simon Peter arrived. He went inside. He also notices the linen wrappings lying there, while the cloth that had covered Jesus' head was folded up and lying apart from the other wrappings. So check this out. There's cloth that covered a body. It's over here. The cloth that covered his face, it's wrapped up and it's over here. They're separated. They're folded up. They look nice. Now Peter's perplexed. Wait a minute. Mary said a crime took place. Wait a minute. Because if it was a crime, why would they fold up the linen wrappings? Why would they do that? If it was a crime, why wouldn't they take the wrappings with the body? Because if not, you just have a naked, bare body. That's kind of noticeable running down the street, Officer, excuse me, son, are you up to notorious business? No, I just have this naked body and I'm running around, right? Maybe someone asked some questions that way, right? Even in the movies, we roll it up in carpet. I don't know. You try to hide it, right? So it's not what happened. So Peter's like, wait a minute. I'm not sure what Mary was saying is true. They're not sure. John 20, verse 8 says, then the disciple, John, who had reached the tomb first, he finally ventures his way in. And he saw and believed. Woo, he saw and believed. What the heck did he believe? Right? It just said he saw and believed. Now, here's the thing with emptiness. Emptiness causes different perspectives. It causes different views to arise. When we see empty, we all think different things. We're not all on the same page, and you just saw it right here. John sees an empty tomb, he believes. Peter sees an empty tomb, and he's like, head scratcher, I don't know, right? We know this is true. Luke chapter 24, verse 12 says, Peter saw the empty linen wrappings. Then he went home again, wondering what had happened. So John believes. Oh, I believe. Believe what, John? Peter's like, I don't know, John, he's young and in shape. He's not wise and fat yet. He doesn't know, right? And he's like, I'm not really sure. Do I believe what happened? The tomb is empty. What the heck's going on? Mary's still out front going, they, right? Relax, Mary. We don't know who they is. What are you talking about, right? Some people, even today, when we look at the empty tomb, it causes confusion. We have different responses to an empty tomb, right? Well, is the empty tomb just, it's empty? Well, there's got to be some logical explanation. And some of us, society people, some of us go, there's a logical explanation, and we explain it away. And you watch the History Channel, and they have very good episodes to explain it away for some reason of how it's impossible. And we go, well, maybe that sounds true, right? Sounds good enough. And we just accept that. Some people are like Peter. We're just confused. Empty tomb. I'm not sure what's going on. And so we just, I'll just live through life and find out at the end, I guess. I'm not sure if that's the best policy. Just find out at the end. You might want to find out sooner, I guess. Some people like John believe. Some people like us, like me, I believe a miracle happened. We believe. So we look at emptiness and we see emptiness differently. My question is, how do you see the empty tomb today? Because we see it differently, and it's going to affect how you respond. Some people to this day still think notorious people, the mystery they showed up and stole his body. I think it takes more faith to believe that than to believe that Jesus rose again, but that's just my opinion. You may have a different one. But either way, what you believe about this emptiness is going to affect what you do. It's going to affect your actions. It changes us, right? Typically, emptiness is not a good thing. That empty egg, I thought it was a bad thing. Typically, Easter morning, an empty basket is not a good thing. Some of you are already grumbling this morning about that, Did you get your Easter basket? No, Easter basket. Yeah, that's right. That's because it was empty, right? Empty. It wasn't even there. You're like, It affects us. It's not a good thing, right? An empty gas tank, is that a good thing? No, it's a bad thing, right? Especially when you're on the highway in the desert in the middle of nowhere, right? An empty bank account? Empty bank account. That's usually why you have an empty gas tank, right? It's not a good thing, right? Oh, honey, just let you know, we have zero. Or worse, there's parentheses around it. And parentheses, those little, whatever those things are. Yeah, right? That means bad. You owe money, right? The bank's going to bill you now, right? And that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing when you have an empty heart. There's something inside of us that's this empty void. And it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing when you are looking for a snack and you get up from the couch and you go into your kitchen or your pantry, you open it, you reach for your favorite cookies, and it's empty. Or you go in the freezer and the ice cream is there, but you open the lid and it's empty. Huh? You're like, it's empty. Who ate all the ice cream? I'm going to kill you. And of course, nobody knows what you're talking about. Didn't even know we had ice cream. Maybe I'm having flashbacks. I don't know. But, right? It is not a good thing to be empty. Most people try to fill the emptiness. So what we try to do, empty gas tank, we're going to fill it. Empty bank account, boy, my wife better get a job. Someone better start working. I don't know, right? We're going to fill it, right? Empty heart, we're going to try to fill that. That's what we try to do. When we experience emptiness, when we have this awareness of just something's missing in my life, we try to fill it. It's what the world does, is what we all do. Go out and buy more ice cream. Go out and buy more cookies. Fill the emptiness. And we pursue that. That's our view. It's empty, it must be filled. That's what the world says. That's what we say all the time. It's a very natural response. It's empty. I've got to fill it. And the void inside of us, when it's empty, I've got to fill it. What am I going to do? How do we fill it? Well, the world tells us how to fill it, and a lot of us buy into that. I got to fill it with money, right? I got to fill it with love or sex. I got to fill it with Instagram fame. I don't know. You just go on Instagram, it will tell you how to fill the void. It's pretty there. Shiny pictures, all this stuff tells us how to fill the void. Fame, popularity. I'm going to work out. I'm going to have a good physique. I'm going to have the right weight. I'm going to wear the right clothes. And this is going to fill the empty void. I'm going to have the right haircut. I'm going to date the right person. I'm going to have the right political views. I'm sorry, but whatever your political view is wrong. So, just apologize for that right off the hand. They're all wrong. So, but we chase this, right? And we believe, this will fill the emptiness inside of me. I'm going to go to the right college, get the right education, which will give me the right job. I'll be able to buy the right house and have the right 4.2 children. And I'll have the right cars and the right boat and the right life. And it will fill that void inside of me. It will fill that emptiness. And then we get there, and guess what? It's still empty. I mean, there's lots of stories in the world about people who have chased the right job and have had all kinds of money and all kinds of fame, and they're very successful in our eyes of what we'd say that's successful, and they're miserable people. They're lonely, and they say, this is not what I thought it was. The money isn't filling it. The car isn't filling it. My spouse isn't filling it. My children aren't filling it. The church isn't filling it. There's a void there. And so we're driven to find what's going to fill this emptiness, because when there's something empty, we want to fill it. That's what most people try to do. Even Jesus knows what emptiness feels like. He knows what emptiness feels like. When Jesus was on the cross, hanging there, he experienced the emptiness that we all experience. Matthew chapter 27, verse 46, says Jesus called out from the cross. He's on the cross, he's dying, and he says, my God, why have you abandoned me? Now, you don't have to raise your hand, but I'm just curious, how many of us have asked that same question? Have you asked that question? My God, is this what life is? My God, the money's not doing it? My God, this person I thought I was marrying, it's not fulfilling me. My God, what's going on? I'm sick. I thought I rose to a place, and now I have cancer. I have some illness, and it's holding me back. And is this what it is? Where are you? Who are you? Alive? Are you real? This is the kind of emptiness that comes from sin. This is why Jesus is experiencing it, because the first time ever Jesus has experienced what we all experienced, the sin of the world, and he experienced it all, and he's laying there. And when we have sin in our life, it separates us from God, and when it separates us from God, it creates a void, an emptiness in our life. Because we're created in the image of God, and we're created to be with God. But when we're not with him, there's a void. And we experience the weight, and we go, God, where are you? And he says, I'm right here where I always was, but because of sin, it keeps separating us. And we say, well, I'm going to fill the void my way. And Jesus says, you can try, but it won't work. It won't be filled. And we say, well, I know, but I'm going to try to play the lotto again, because I know everybody says it's miserable, but I'd like to try and have my turn at it. Right? Maybe I'll be different. Because we believe that lie, that I can fill that void that way. No, without God in our life, we always have a void of emptiness, a void of feeling lost, a void of not feeling enough, a void of whatever we have just isn't cutting it. And we feel without purpose, without value, without meaning. It's empty, right? Jesus experienced it. How many of you have a water softener in your house? You got a water softener? Well, of course, you live in the desert. Yeah, of course, yeah. Got stinking hard water. We have a water softener in our house, and this past summer, August, we started noticing the reddish, orangish, thing that happens when your water softener isn't working. He's noticing in the shower and the bathroom sinks, and it was in the dishwasher. I didn't notice it in there because I never use that thing. I don't know what that's what we had children for. You go take care of it. My wife said, the kids are saying something's in the dishwasher. I said, what's a dishwasher? Oh, yeah, let's go in there and look, right? So, orange building up, and I'm like, whoo. I'm not the smartest guy, but I'm like, that means something's wrong with our water softener. It's not working. That's a problem. So I go out, tank, I lift off the lid. Maybe we're out of salt. To lift off the lid and look, and it is filled to the brim. That's to the top, if you don't know what that is, filled to the brim, right? It's filled to the top. And I'm like, well, we got plenty of salt. What's the deal? And so I start I was going to stir the salt up, maybe, something. So I put my finger in, I go to stir, and it is solid rock hard. I'm like, oh, wow. So I go, well, I'll get a screwdriver. So I get a screwdriver, and I'm like, I mean, it's like hitting ice. I'm barely moving, a little flakes flicking off, and I'm like, this is not normal. I said, screwdriver's not going to work. So I went and got a crowbar. We got a long crowbar. I'm a man, bigger the tool, the better, That's why us men buy these tools, for the one time we'll use it in life, All right, give me the crowbar. No, the big one. So get the crowbar, and I'm like, holy cow, this thing is tough. And so I get to the edge. Our saltwater tank, it's plastic, so I get it on the edge. I'm like, oh, the tank is bowing, but the salt is not. Okay, well, this is weird. So I start shoving it in along the side, working a little hole, chipping it out. It's like bedrock, if any guys hard rock, bedrock. I'm like, holy cow, this is not what it's supposed to be. What is going on with our saltwater tank? But, I'm going to fix it myself before I call someone else, which means I'm going to pay 3 times as much to fix what I broke. But anyway, so I'm in there, I'm digging away, and I'm going, and our saltwater tank sits about this high, and I get about halfway down the tank. It's hard as a rock, still chiseling away. I'm looking for gold. I don't know what's taking me so long. I'm not the smartest guy, but, so I'm still going. And finally, I get about halfway down, and all of a sudden it breaks loose. Boom, whoo, and there's a big, massive void. So the top half of my water tank is solid, rock solid of salt, but about this high all the way down the ground, it's totally empty. It's void. It's got the water in there, but it's void. There's no salt. So I'm like, well, this is a problem. None of the salt is getting into our system. The water's just, it works, but it's just not getting in there. It's just creating an empty void. Now, this is a lot of our lives. We talk about God, and we know who God is, but we have this rock solid of all the crap that we go chasing after. I'm sorry, we're not supposed to say crap in church, but anyways, but that's what it is. All the crap in our life, and it becomes rock solid, and it creates a void that is never getting filled because we're not allowing Jesus to dig a hole through it and get down in there and fill what really needs to fill, what's really going to change our world. Because when Jesus gets down in that softener, it affects everything. It's going to affect our whole life. It's going to change the way we live. It's going to change our perspective. It's going to change the way we interact with other people. But we got all this crap, and it's really called sin, that's preventing us from experiencing Jesus Christ. And that leaves us feeling, God, don't you really love me? I mean, I have this head knowledge of who you are. I know you're supposed to love me. You're supposed to show me grace. You're supposed to care about me, but you're not doing it, God. Why is this emptiness there? Because of our sin is separating us from God. That's why Jesus went to the cross in the first place. Here's what I want you to understand. The emptiness matters, right? The emptiness matters. In my water softener, that bottom, that emptiness had a great impact on our livelihood. It had great impact. It could destroy our dishwasher. It could destroy our pipes. It affects the water that we use to cook with. I mean, it causes lots of problems. And without Jesus, it causes lots of problems in our world, but we're so dependent upon that rock solid stuff that we think that's going to show us God's grace, when the reality is Jesus is allowing the emptiness there because it's part of his grace. We don't necessarily see it at the time, but it's part of his grace. Jesus is allowing the emptiness in us because it's drawing us to him. So you have this emptiness in your heart, in your head, and you're just like, life has got to be, this can't just be life, is it? Life has got to be better than this, doesn't it? And these questions that go through your mind and you think about that, they're there for a reason. God has put them there because he's drawing us to him. Because you're right. Life has got to be more than what it is. Life has got to be more than this, and it is with Jesus Christ. It is because he changes everything. It's like that empty egg I got, this stupid egg. But it changed everything. It still affected me today. It's affected my children. Jesus does that when we let him get into that emptiness and we allow him to fill it. You know, the empty tomb is showing us Jesus' everlasting love. Let me say that again. The empty tomb is showing us Jesus' everlasting love. He is alive. He lives. Do you know what that means? That changes everything. That means that our lives do have purpose. They do have meaning. And it's God showing his grace upon us. And he's showing us that he loves us and that he cares about us. And that our lives do not have to be lived in an empty void of, is this it? It can be filled with the presence of God. And it changes everything. Romans chapter 10, verse 9. It says, if we, that's us, if we declare that Jesus is Lord, that means he's the one and only God, and we believe in our heart that God raised him from the dead, we're just like John. We look in emptiness and we say, there's a miracle that happened. And when we do that, we will be saved. That's an awesome thing. That empty void that we have in our lives will be filled with the presence of God. That is a tremendous blessing. That's what we celebrate today. That is grace. That is grace. You want to see grace? It's through Jesus Christ. And I encourage you to give your life to Jesus. Not just know who he is. Yeah, Jesus, he died on the cross 2,000 years ago. Yeah, I went to Easter church. Yeah, whatever. No, but live for him. You let him come into the void in your life, and it changes everything. And you say, why does it matter? Why does it even matter? Well, if someone you love has died, it matters. Because if they believe in Jesus and you believe in Jesus, you will see them again. You will see them again. It matters because one day we're going to die. And like Jesus, we will rise again and we will live in his presence forever. It matters. Why does it matter? Because that empty void in our lives will be filled. And your life will have value and purpose and meaning, and it will change everything about you. Problems won't seem as bad because you have hope through Jesus Christ. Joys will be that much greater because of the joy of Jesus Christ. And your world and your family and your relationships will grow stronger because Jesus has filled the void inside of you, and you will live a life that most people never experience because they're trying to fill the void. And the only one who could fill that void, that emptiness, is Jesus Christ. Praise God for the emptiness of an empty tomb, because he's not there anymore. He's right here. And he can be right there for you too. Bow your head, close your eyes. I just encourage you to consider the emptiness in your own life. What is preventing you from giving your life to Jesus Christ? I encourage you to do exactly what Romans chapter 10, verse 9 says, to call out to Jesus. Believe in your heart that he is the Son of God. Believe in your heart that he died and he rose again and he's alive right now. And then confess him with your mouth. If you would like to give your life to Jesus and you have never done that, I encourage you. You can just say a prayer. You can repeat right after me, right there in your seat. You say, Jesus, I believe in you. Jesus, I believe you died on the cross. I believe you rose again. I believe you are alive right now. Jesus, help me to believe that. Jesus, I admit that I have sinned. I've messed up. I've trusted other things to fill the void. It hasn't worked. Jesus, I want to do it your way. Jesus, I ask you to forgive me. I choose to give you my life. I want to live for you from this moment forevermore. Jesus, fill the emptiness with your love, with your grace, with your mercy. And I want to leave here today a new person. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.